Spectrum in Philadelphia. Mike Fornes and Al, you back, Philadelphia. Mike Fornes and Al Koken welcoming you back once again to our live exclusive coverage tonight here on DC 20. Let's quickly check the out-of-town scoreboard now to see what's happening in the other games around the National Hockey League. First of all, the Islanders in Quebec. Now in the second period, Trottier has given New York a 2-1 lead over the Quebec Nordiques. Pittsburgh is at St. Louis. Stevens and Cunneyworth for the Penguins. And the Blues with goals from Whistle and Gilmore. It's Doug Gilmore's 33rd goal of the season. That's in the second period, tied at 2. Los Angeles at Boston. They're now in the third period. The Bruins still hold a 2-1 lead. Vancouver and Detroit. Vancouver gets a goal from David Bruce, but the Red Wings have come up with a goal as well in the second period, and now it's 3-2 Detroit in the third period. They're just underway with period number 3 at the Joe Louis Arena. Winnipeg and Calgary just getting underway out west. Right here, the Washington Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers, with the Flyers holding a 2-goal margin and a 2-goal second period for Philadelphia, in which the Flyers certainly took advantage on some Washington miscues defensively. Probably the worst mistakes that were made, though, by the Capitals were saved by Clint Malarchuk.
Thanks to Malarchuk, the Capitals are very much in this hockey game, still down only by 2 goals. It is tough to come back against the Flyers. It is very tough to come back against them in this building. And remember, they've replenished their once brutalized defensive core with the return of Mark Howe and also the return of Kerry Huffman. We had a little glimpse at the displeasure that Brian Murray was feeling in that second period when we went down to the Capitals bench during that timeout that Brian Murray called midway through the second period. I can guarantee you it is nothing compared to the displeasure he let his team know between periods. Through 2 closed doors, you could hear Brian Murray yelling, then walked away to let his players think about what he said. I guarantee you Brian Murray has not packed this game in, and we'll see if his players feel the same way and how they come out and face the Flyers in this third period.
Well, the Caps will get their chance. They'll have the power play when we resume action during period number 3, and we'll be back with the opening face-off of the third.
Watch out, Washington Brick and Block are back. By your Washington area Buick dealers. By K Jewelers, the Diamond People. By Safeway. And by Toyota. There's quality, and then there's Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Capitals with second period goals by Scott Mellanby and Brian Propp. Mellanby getting his 23rd of the season, Propp his 24th of the year, as the Capitals were outshot 16-5 during the second period. They've been outshot 22-18 for the game so far, after Washington had taken a 13-6 advantage in the first, and the teams were tied at 1-1. Certainly, Al, the Caps are not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. 2-goal comebacks are something that recently the Caps have shown more than enough ability in overcoming. And if this club can get back to playing the type of hockey they have played over the last dozen games, they should be able to pull this game out. But it's the type of play that they exhibited during the second period that we have not seen during this last 12-game span. They haven't been making mistakes like that over the last dozen games.
No, the only game that reminded me of that was the only loss in Los Angeles, where they seemed to have kind of lost their legs after some time off, spent a little bit in Palm Springs and the other bit on that road trip, and they had a few days off here. But with this power play opportunity that still has 3:35 left to go in the Zezel penalty, the Caps with an ample chance to at least get one and make it a 1-goal hockey game.
Here's Gustafson across the line with a man advantage. Throws it behind the net. Hextall and Hunter collide. The puck cleared to the blue line. Good job by Stevens of keeping it in. He sends it over to Christian. Shot wide. And Samuelson clears the puck to the blue line and all the way back into the Washington zone. Larry Murphy back to retrieve. Leads it ahead for Christian. Left wing pass to Hunter. And he's offside as he reaches over to grab the puck. His teammate Christian came across the line. And the faceoff will be in neutral ice. Hunter is well on his way to a 20-goal year, has 18 on the season now with 35 assists for 53 points. And Hunter coming into this game, the team leader in penalty minutes with 203 minutes in the penalty box. Zezel still with 3:03 to serve in that 5-minute high sticking major that came near the close of the second period. Ridley with Adams and Gartner. Sent right on net. Hextall knocks it down. Gartner picks it up. Mike Gartner from a bad angle in front. Ridley a shot. That goes just wide. Played back into the corner. Here's Ridley on the power play attack. Over to Greg Adams. Adams to the side of the net. Couldn't get it between Hextall's pads. Now to Hatcher. To Ridley. Back to Kevin Hatcher. He leads it over to Grant Ledyard. Now to Hatcher. One-timer by Ridley is deflected wide. Knocked down to the point for Hatcher. His wrist shot. That bounces around in front of the net. And the Flyers again move it to the corner. Played off the boards to the blue line. Hatcher with a fake to keep it in. Skates to the corner. Walks in front. A shot off the skate of Adams. He reaches for the rebound and sends it over Hextall, who was lying on the ice. Now Ledyard at the point. Brings it back over to Hatcher. Here's a drive just wide. Gartner took a shot. Gartner swings his stick now at Prop and misses. There's no penalty call coming on it. Prop gives Gartner a jab back as they skate up ice. Down to 1:50 to go in the power play for Washington. Ledyard to the center line. Feeds it over to Christian on the right wing. He's jammed up on the play, and it's pushed past Ledyard all the way back into the Washington zone. Larry Murphy with 1:30 to go in the Capitals power play. Slaps it back inside the Flyers zone. Hextall gets a piece of it. Here's Miller, or rather Pavanka, trying to center in front. Couldn't get it to Christian. Stevens looks for Murphy, but it's grabbed by Sinisalo. Sinisalo throws it inside the Washington zone, and Scott Stevens skates behind the net after it. Leads a pass ahead for Bengt Gustafsson. Gustafsson to the blue line for Dave Christian. Off the boards for Gustafsson. Back out to Michael Pavanka. Here's Murphy, a shot and a goal! Larry Murphy winds up and blazes a low drive past Hextall. The Caps connect on the power play to make it a 3-2 game. Zezel still has time remaining, 50 seconds worth in the box.
Murphy moving into that open spot there as the Flyer box opens up to go down after Gustafsson and Pavanka. A nice setup pass, and the one-timer beats Hextall. On the reverse angle, you see the opening that Murphy's got there. Howe attracted out high. The box opens itself up, and Murphy goes into that opening, and there are still 50 seconds left to go on the Capitals power play. That is the key goal, though, Mike. Capitals pull back to within one. If the Flyers had killed off that 5 minutes, a tremendous psychological lift would have been going their way. As it is, the Capitals get the job done on the power play.
They'll still have another opportunity to score here. Pavanka and Gustafsson get the assists on Murphy's 8th of the season. It's a power play goal for Murphy. Time of the goal, 2:51.
You can see the Capitals moving the puck much better. When we talk with Mike Ridley between periods, talking about not working as a 5-man unit, that is the first time the Capitals have scored a power play goal against the Flyers this year. But you could see the movement a lot better. People not just standing around, swinging things, filling up the open area, and moving the puck much better. Something the Capitals did not do in those first 28 advantages that they had, 29 advantages. But here they get it done. It's a one-goal hockey game.
Here's Craven to the sideboards, clears it all the way down. 30 seconds to go in the Washington power play. Kevin Hatcher behind the net. Leads it out to Mike Gartner. Gartner to the center line, gets across the blue line. Craven tries to work it free. It's sent over to Hunter. Dale Hunter, back to Mike Ridley. Ridley finds Hunter. He centers it. It's deflected just wide, and now Ridley has the puck. 5 seconds left on the power play. Back to Hunter. Cleared to the sideboards to the point, and it's sent past Hatcher out to center. Now Stevens tries to slow down Zezel. Zezel out of the box, goes in. Can't get it centered. Ridley barrels into Craven and jams him, and now Zezel jammed against the back of the Washington net by Scott Stevens. There's a break in the action with a score. The Flyers 3 and the Capitals 2.
On DC 20 from the sold-out Spectrum, 17,423 people. This is Peter Zezel and Scott Stevens caught behind there. Zezel lifting that goalpost up.
Zezel was caught behind the play, and moved the net intentionally. Miller dumps it into the corner. Here's Gould to the backboard. He's checked, and Kerry Huffman has the puck. Plays it out for Tim Kerr to the blue line. Now here's Rod Langway, a slap shot. That's just wide of the mark. Back to the point. Greg Smith to Gould to Sundstrom. Flips it wide. Miller to the corner now. Jams up with Crossman. Out comes Pratt for Philadelphia. At the line. Taken away by Greg Smith of the Capitals. He leads it ahead to Kelly Miller. Miller across the line looking for Sundstrom. The puck goes to the corner. Here's Samuelson. Out to Zezel. Peter Zezel for Philadelphia. Flips it in. Malarchuk makes the save, and Rod Langway skates behind the Washington net. Lead pass out to Kelly Miller. Miller directs it back inside the Flyers zone. Hextall stops it behind the net, makes the play up the boards. All the way back into Washington ice, and Scott Stevens is back for it. Icing is the call with 14:54 to go in the third period. 17,423 on hand tonight here in Philadelphia. It's a sellout crowd, and with the Capitals facing opponents like the Rangers and the Islanders in the next week, you can imagine there'll be some big crowds on hand in Washington at the Capitol Center, although I understand some tickets are still available.
Well, there's some single seats left for the Ranger game, and the New York Islander game, though, there's some good seats still left on that one. Phone charge 432-0200, of course, is the number, but you know, you look at the race in this Patriot division, the Rangers, in theory, certainly could still, if they got real hot, catch some of these leaders if anybody falters. But the way the three teams at the top are bunched within 1 point of each other, a victory or a loss means the difference between first and second. And that's why that Islander game coming up is so important, with the last Capitol Center appearance of the New York Islanders this season on the 18th.
The Caps with 76 points lead the Patrick division. They're ahead of the Flyers and Islanders by 1 point. They lead the Rangers by 10 and the Devils and Penguins by 11. So a lot of scoreboard watching tonight in different cities, with the Islanders in the lead over Quebec. They stand to gain some ground here on the Capitals should the Flyers win, or on the Flyers should the Capitals win. Here's Derek Smith. Right now Philadelphia with a 1-goal lead, and the Capitals getting back in this game on Larry Murphy's 8th goal of the season on the power play, bringing Washington to within 1.
Of course, the importance in this game for the Capitals, the Flyers still have a game in hand. So a victory for the Capitals puts them 3 points ahead of Philly. Even if the Flyers win that game in hand, if the Capitals match the Flyers in terms of wins and ties the rest of the year, the Capitals will finish ahead of Philadelphia. So that is a very important point that's hanging in the balance tonight. 3-2 hockey game here with 14:35 left.
Mellenby grabs it just inside the Washington blue line. He's offside. There'll be another face-off out in neutral ice. Capitals unbeaten so far in the month of March. 4 wins in 4 games. They had 7 wins, 4 losses, and no ties in the month of February. Philadelphia has started the month of March in not too grand a fashion, with only 1 victory and 3 losses. Here's Murphy. Up to Scott Stevens. Out to center ice. Huber has it kicked away by Pavanka, racing inside the Flyers zone. Gustafson turns it around in front for Christian, but Hill intercepts. Now Pavanka goes back to the corner. Gives to Christian. Taken away. Flyers on the attack. Mellenby shoots it back inside the Washington zone, and Scott Stevens is checked by Mellenby. Here comes Murphy up to center. Left wing pass for Pavanka. Tries to put it in front for Christian. Just missed him. Mellenby flips it off the sideboards to center. Larry Murphy over now to Stevens. Hextall keeps it going off the glass. It's turned out to center ice, and Hatcher sends it right back in. Shell Samuelson from behind the net. Stolen puck. Ridley grabs it, tries to get it over to Gartner, but it's taken away, and here come the Flyers again on the attack. Magnus Rupe, long drive wide of the goal, and Greg Smith of the Capitals into the corner with Francis Sketty. They've pushed Sinisalo out of the play. Here's Rupe, a shot that's off the skate of Hatcher and grabbed by Malarchuk. Mike Gartner stick handles to center ice. Right side pass too far for Ridley. Hextall plays it up the boards to the point. Hatcher driving it wide. Ridley behind the goal, looking for Franceschetti in front. Here's Ridley. Walks in, backhand shot. It's knocked down. We've got a penalty call coming. It looks like Kerry Fraser is saying interference.
This would have to be on Franceschetti because Ridley had the puck when he blew the whistle.
Penalty call coming. There's a break in the action with a score. The Flyers 3 and the Capitals 2.
You see Lou Franceschetti getting cross-checked out of the crease. Then he gets back in there and tangles up with Howe, and I think took Howe down, according to Kerry Fraser. That gets the interference call. 7:08, Flyer power play on the ice.
Here's Zezel. Leads it behind Howe, and Kerr keeps it going to Sinisalo. Back in the Washington zone. Rod Langway gets it out, and Gould knocks it down back at center. Here's Howe to play it. Caps trailing 3-2 to the Flyers. Right now, Washington with Franceschetti in the box for interference. Hatcher, hand pass ahead to Kelly Miller. That's quickly whistled down. There'll be a face-off inside the Washington zone.
Just amazing what Tim Kerr had to go through. 5 operations on his shoulder. His last competitive hockey game, you have to go all the way back to April 30th of last year against the New York Islanders. Had a screw put in his shoulder. That slipped out. A second operation to put a new screw in. Then that screw became infected. They had to go in another time to clean the infection out. Another operation to get the screw. 5 operations total. And he has battled his way back to play and be a factor in this game tonight.
Philadelphia continues on the power play. Here's a pass in front, stolen by Gustafson to the point, kept in by Willie Huber. Over now to Prop. He sends a wrist shot on goal, and with Kerr planted right in that goal crease, Malarchuk makes the glove save and holds onto it. Malarchuk, 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties in his career against the Flyers, posting a 2.04 goals against average. So you knew it had to be a low-scoring game when you matched Malarchuk against Hextall, who came in at 1.75 lifetime against Washington. There have been 5 goals scored in the game, and with the Flyers getting 3, that's already 1 more than the average the Caps have given up over the past dozen games. They've only been allowing 2 goals against per game as a team. Here's Howe to the blue line, kept in by Huber. He drives it just wide. Now back to Mark Howe. Huber and Howe trade passes. Craven right in front for Kerr, a backhander. Prop on the doorstep, knocked away. Craven to Kerr, or to Howe at the point. Now over to Prop, to Willie Huber. Prop one-times it right in the net. Rod Langway may have been in the way, but Malarchuk clearly did not see that puck. It went right through him. And Philadelphia takes a 4-2 lead on the power play goal.
The stick of Tim Kerr again is in front. We'll see if this does anything to the puck. No, that thing just bounced off. It may have even hit Langway and changed direction. Keep an eye, though, on Kerr in front. He's getting jostled around a bit. But that puck looks like it's up over the stick. They have changed direction just a bit to raise itself up, but all Prop is trying to do is throw it in front, and he ends up getting the goal out of it after the Capitals have battled back to within 1. The power play of the Flyers lets them regain that 2-goal lead.
That's Prop's 2nd goal of the night and 25th of the year. Time of the goal, 8:28. Huber and Howe get the assists on the power play goal by Prop.
That is the 3rd assist tonight for Willie Huber, 2 of them coming on the power play. So that trade for Philadelphia is paying dividends here.
Here's Sinisalo, a backhander, and Malarchuk makes the save. Now Hunter hooked off the play by Rupe. At the Washington line, Larry Murphy starts ahead to center. Here's Hextall. Off the corner glass to the point, kept in by Murphy. He drives it right on goal, and Hextall makes the pad save. Sinisalo can't clear it out. Greg Adams behind the net. Centers looking for Corriveau. The Hextall stick makes the difference. He blocks that pass, and the Flyers clear it all the way down. Malarchuk forced to play it now as Rupe was cruising in to prevent an icing call. Zezel jams up on the backboards, and now Greg Smith of the Capitals struggles, moves it along to Larry Murphy. Murphy up to center ice. Capitals changing on the fly, so are the Flyers. And Shel Samuelson pushes it back inside the Washington zone. Kevin Hatcher behind the net. Skates it out. Hatcher to center, has Gartner trailing. He's taken out just inside the blue line. Derek Smith up to Al Hill. Hill across the line, 3-on-2. Here's a centering pass. Malarchuk makes the save, and the rebound grabbed by Gartner and cleared all the way down the ice. Huber off the boards, pushes it back inside the Washington zone, and this will be icing as Hatcher goes back to get it. There's a break in the action with a score. Philadelphia 4, Washington 2.
You won't want to miss the Packer Division playoffs, and you can guarantee yourself best seat in the Capitol Center for all the home playoff games by putting down a deposit on a season ticket or a partial plan for next year. Sales reps are standing by at the Capitol Center right now. The number 386-7000. Happy to answer all your questions. They're there throughout tonight's hockey game.
Flyers with a 2-goal lead. Less than 10 minutes to go in the third period. Hextall mishandles the puck and has to drop to cover it. That stops play. An explosion by the Red Wings in the third period tonight at Detroit. Sharple, Zombo, and Barr have all scored now for Detroit. The Red Wings with a 5-2 lead over the Vancouver Canucks in the third period. Gino Cavallini and Mark Hunter have scored for St. Louis, and the Blues have a 4-2 lead over Pittsburgh. Islanders still leading Quebec 2-1 on Mike Bossy night at the Nassau Coliseum. Rod Langway. Pass Povanka back inside the Philadelphia zone, and Hextall leaves it there. Al Hill starts out. Up at center, Ledyard tries to stop Derek Smith of the Flyers, and Gustafson comes in and takes the puck. Gives it off to Ledyard. Ledyard poke checked at the blue line by Samuelson. Here's Prop. Up to Craven. Rocket shot right on goal, and Malarchuk took that right in the midsection. Extremely hard drive onto the Washington goaltender, Clint Malarchuk.
This is after the Capitals mishandle the puck a bit. Flyers come right back. Their transition game has been outstanding in the second half of this hockey game. That second period in particular, and the real rocket off the stick of Murray Craven. Capitals kind of falling back into some of the disorganized ways and are not passing the puck as sharply as they did when they came out in this third period.
Malarchuk has appeared in the last 9 games and has started the last 8. During those 9, 8 wins, 1 loss, no ties, and had 3 shutouts, a 1.70 goals against average. Kerr tripped up from the draw by Sundstrom. Here's Scott Stevens. Up to Larry Murphy. Murphy inside the blue line. Passes to the right wing corner. Francischetti centers it. Knocked down to Stevens, a wrist shot, hit a skate, back to the corner. Prop starts out to Craven. Craven inside the Washington zone, gives it to Kerr, his high drive misses wide. Prop with it on the backhand. Kerr tries to center, and Stevens back into the corner now for Peter Sundstrom. Here's Sundstrom ahead to center ice. Dumps it into the Flyers zone. Craven holds on to Franciscetti in the corner. Murphy has the puck. Can't get it past Huffman. Skates it back to the blue line. That comes out of the zone, and Steven has to send it again to Sundstrom. Now the Capitals are offside, and again play is stopped.
That is the helmet of Flyer backup goaltender Mark LaForest. Looks like something you'd see on the side of a van, doesn't it?
I don't think Earl Scheib did that one. And certainly not for $79.95. Mark LaForest, the former Red Wing.
Nickname is the Tree. That's the tree you saw on that helmet. You're behind Ron Hextall, though. You don't see a lot of action. Darrell Ray in Edmonton certainly knows that feeling. He's had the best seat in the house for every Oiler game but one when he's been in the net. Grant Fuhr's played all but one game, started all but one game out there for Edmonton.
Here's Zezel out to center ice. Sent across the line by Corriveau and played back to center by Marsh. Here's Hatcher starting in for the Capitals, and Corriveau is ahead of the play. Offside is called.
Well, the Capitals down by 2 have tried to open things up a bit. The defenseman coming in a little more. It could lead to some more Flyer breaks. The Flyers have had plenty of opportunities tonight. But Kevin Hatcher is a guy who usually has the green light in situations like this. If he can make a play, he can go down there and pinch. But Mike Keenan telling his troops that quick counterattack, if he catches the Capitals defenseman up ice, could put this game away. So it's a very tenuous time here for the Capitals, down by 2.
Zezel and Hunter battle from the faceoff, and it goes right into the Flyer bench. Hunter ready to go again. Brings it to the sideboards. Washington dominating in the faceoff department in the first period, but Philadelphia won the majority in period number 2. Here's Hunter. Corriveau tries to center in. That's batted to the corner by Hextall. Hunter swings the stick a bit in the corner as he's tied up. Now he's bumped against the sideboards by Marsh. Hunter and Marsh are going to go here any minute. The sticks are up high. Play continues. Nothing's been called. And now Hunter charges in on Zezel. Marsh goes in to join him, and here we go. Bobby Gould steps in to try and grab Zezel. Now Hatcher arrives on the scene. Corriveau's right in there, trying to grab a sweater. He's trying to pull Marsh off, and it's being held away by Sinisalo. Rupe's got a grip on Hatcher, and Zezel and Gould squaring off as Hunter's being held away by linesman Bob Hodges. Shel Samuelson watching all this from back on the bench. With Dave Brown out of the lineup, he's probably one of the more likely players to get involved, but Rupe and Hatcher start to push and shove now. Rupe wearing that face shield doesn't have a whole lot of damage done by Hatcher's shoving.
Hatcher says, I'd be glad to go with you. Get rid of that shield. Rupe is certainly a very belligerent European player. Not typical of what you think of a lot of European players to be in terms of their passivity.
Now Hatcher's got a warning for Zezel as Zezel's on his way to the box. And
you know
Hunter throws a glare over at Zezel as well. And Rupe. Now Hunter wants to go back out there now and throws a bit of a stick into Marsh, and that's going to cost him.
It should. There's no point in that, Mike. You know, he's getting led to the penalty box. You don't put your stick out in a situation like that. I don't care what it is, you don't use your stick like that. We'll sort out all these penalties. Tell you all about it when we return. The Flyers leading the Caps 4-2. Rupe on the right. For the Capitals, Hatcher and Hunter. And here are the calls.
High sticking to Hunter and Zezel.
Kevin Hatcher. And Flyers penalty number 10, Magnus Rupe, each 2 minutes for roughing.
And then Hatcher and Rupe each get minors for roughing.
Now, you knew something was going to happen here. Hunter was being hammered around there by Zezel, taken down with no call. Marsh will come into it. Now watch Marsh and Hunter get going. This is where I thought Kerry Fraser was definitely going to make a call, because these two guys got the sticks up there, but he didn't. And Dale Hunter then went flying across the other side of the ice looking to get something going, and he got his wish. But no loss in manpower for either side as the penalties equal out. Roughing to Hatcher and Rupe, high sticking to Hunter and Zezel. Well, this is the collision with Hunter and Zezel with the sticks high. And that's finally where all hell broke loose. See Hatcher quickly getting into it. Marsh is in there. Gould, Corvo sneaks in.
Al, I really thought that Hunter would get something extra for the little joust-fitting match that he had there with Rupe afterwards, and he didn't. He turns out just getting the high sticking call, which had to be the original.
Well, he got the blade of the stick in there in the midsection of Brad Marsh as Hodges was taking him to the box. Really thought he was going to get extra time there.
At the point, here's Ledyard to drive, a save, a rebound, and the shot knocked down in the goal mouth and covered. And let's see who stopped it. Is Hextall the man
Derek
who makes
Smith.
the play, or
It's
is it
Derek Smith. Unbelievable play by Derek Smith.
Let's see who covers the puck here.
Watch Smith sneak behind Hextall as Hextall is down. Miller will get the backhander in, and it's Derek Smith with the save.
Looks like Hextall was the man who grabbed it, though, and covered. If Derek Smith had covered the puck in the crease, that would have called for a Washington penalty shot. And watch the temptation here as he's forced to make the stop, but allow Hextall to make the cover. Miller has it sent past the point man, Ledyard. Langway goes back, and it'll be icing as it was cleared by the Flyers. The faceoff goes into the Philadelphia zone. 6:20 to go, third period. Philadelphia still on top 4-2. The Caps led 1-0 on Ridley's goal in the first period, then were tied up by Huffman on the power play. In the second period, Mellenby and Prop put Philadelphia ahead by 2 goals. A 3-1 story as we came into the third period. And then Murphy brings the Capitals within 1 on a power play. Prop on the power play, again giving Philadelphia the 2-goal lead.
And Mike, this is a key area. We talked about this earlier in the game. This is an area that the Capitals, excuse me, should be taking advantage of in these defensive faceoffs.
Here Al Hill steps in and wins a draw, goes to the backboard. Christian gets a stick on it. Scott Stevens skating in from a bad angle, fires, and it's blocked by Huber. Stevens keeps right on it, throws it around the boards. Here's Gustafson. Ties up with Mellenby. Pushing and shoving along the sideboards. Christian's in there. Marsh finally kicks it loose. It comes out to Pavanka. Over to Stevens. His shot blocked by Huber. Huber grabs Gustafson. And Christian moves in the corner. Tried to go to Pavanka. It gets past him, and out comes Al Hill. Back to the Washington line for Stevens. To the Flyers zone. Here's Al Hill to bring it to center. At the blue line, Scott Stevens gets a stick in there, and now Pavanka ready to make the play. Backs it up for Stevens. Right side for Gartner. Tripped as he crosses the blue line. No call. Samuelson is able to shove it out. Scott Stevens shoots it back to the Flyers zone, and Samuelson starts the rush to center. Murray Craven ahead for Tim Kerr. 2-on-1. Here's a pass blocked by Malarchuk. The rebound knocked down behind the net. And Kerr had a scoring chance taken away by Ridley, who played some good defensive hockey at the side of the net. Now Miller moves it out to center, and Craven takes it right back in for Philadelphia. Drop pass, a shot on goal by Kerr to Malarchuk to make the save. Here's Howe and Miller in the corner. Out to Ridley, taken away by Howe. Mark Howe, left side for Prop. He fires, and Malarchuk gets the pads together. And once again, the Flyers going to the 5-hole on Malarchuk, but Clint stops him this time. There's a break in the action. The Flyer lead is at 2.
Station for sports.
It'll be Tim Kerr against Peter Sundstrom in the face-off circle to the right of Clint Malarchuk.
Now the Capitals taking a look at Tim Kerr's stick. This is interesting. Brian Murray, if he gets Kerr having an illegal stick, will gain a power play. If not, the Flyers will get a power play. With 4:27 left, down by 2, why not take the chance? Looking at the curve of the stick and also the size of the blade. 2 areas you can be caught on.
I think they're just checking the size, Al. It doesn't appear as though they've really concerned themselves with how that blade is curved, but in the size of that stick,
I think
they've got a way to measure that too. And
you see how they're bringing that little measuring thing up? I don't think it was. You got to pass that thing through it, and I don't think it did. So it looks like the Capitals are going to get a power play out of this.
Craven found it a bit amusing, and as one of the alternate captains comes back now to report to Mike Keenan the bad news. But it's good news for the Capitals, who will take advantage here and gain a power play with only 4:27 left to go in the third period. So Tim Kerr, who has been held off the scoreboard tonight with no points at all, now heads to the penalty box. 2 minutes for playing with an illegal stick. And the Caps might feel some justice should they prevail in this situation and turn it into a power play goal, remembering that Gustafsson had been called on the very same call earlier in the year with the width of the blade being the problem, and apparently it was just a blister in the fiberglass that did not allow it to go all the way through. But the sticks come that way from the factory. It's a player's responsibility to shave them down or get them to where they are legal. Every club has one of those stick measuring devices and keeps it close by when the players are working on the sticks. But here the Capitals playing a hunch, and it pays off in the form of a power play, and we'll see if they can make it pay off even further. Time of the call, 15:33. At the point, Marsh scores a shorthanded goal. Brad Marsh from the blue line, blazing another one through Malarchuk. And Philadelphia, shorthanded, makes it 5-2.
But it all starts at the face-off, and instead of dominating the weakened Flyers at center ice, the Flyers dominate the Capitals. Craven wins the draw cleanly. You see how it flips up and down, change of direction, and the Capitals fall behind by 3. But how can you let these guys continue to win face-offs? You got a guy who normally plays left wing in Murray Craven moving to center ice, and he beats you cleanly there for the shorthanded situation.
The power play continues. It's only Marsh's second goal of the year. It comes at 15:37, shorthanded. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Played out of the zone by Propp. Over to Stevens. Here's Christian on the right wing. Back into the corner. Back to the point for Hatcher. Over to Stevens. A slap shot sticked wide. And Pavanka turns it around looking for Hatcher, but it goes all the way down the ice. Hatcher starts out with a pass to Scott Stevens. Inside the line to Hunter. Howe plays it off the boards, and up ahead comes Sinisalo. A break. Hunter's trying to catch him. A shot by Sinisalo crashing into Malarchuk. The rebound. Hill gets his chance. He fires again. And after Malarchuk stopped one drive, Hill sends another one wide. Mike Gartner turns at center as the Capitals change up on the fly. 30 seconds left on the power play. Ledyard throws it in behind the net. The puck played off the glass. Here's Ridley into the corner to Greg Adams. Off the boards to the point for Ridley. Feeds to the left side. Off Ledyard's skate. It bounces out to center. Now to Larry Murphy. Murphy ahead to Gartner on the right wing. Left side, Ledyard. Offside is called against Washington with 1 second left in the penalty to Tim Kerr. There's a break in the action with a score. The Flyers 5 and the Capitals 2.
Light up the night. When the sun goes down, gonna light up the night. Silver label, red ribbon, chase that ride. It's gonna light up the night. Michelob Light. Gonna light up the night. Gonna light up the night. Gonna light up the night. My Michelob Light.
All set to go for the face-off out of neutral ice. 2:28 to play here in the third period. Kerr jumps out of the box and quickly feeds Mellanby. Mellanby fires. Malarchuk the stick save. Here's Greg Smith. Leads it over to Kelly Miller. Kerr on the right wing. Moves to center. Here's Sundstrom. Couldn't get past Huffman. Drops it back, and Langway sends it all the way down. We've got a delayed penalty call coming here against Philadelphia. And as Huffman touches the puck, the whistle blows. We've got a slashing call coming up against the Flyers, and returning to the penalty box is Tim Kerr. He just came out after using the illegal stick. Now he heads back in at 18:07.
Well, you see, he responds to a slash from Peter Sundstrom. Gary Fraser sees the retaliation, but not the original slash by Peter Sundstrom.
Tony McKegney has scored for St. Louis, giving the Blues a 5-2 lead over Pittsburgh in the third period. Anton Stastny has scored for Quebec, and the Nordiques and Islanders are tied at 2-2. And Bernie Nichols has fired home his 30th goal of the season to lift Los Angeles into a 3-3 lead, or 3-3 tie now with Boston. They're in overtime at the Boston Garden. Drive on net. Ekstall kicks it out, and Stevens chasing back into his own zone. The Capitals will finish the game on the power play here unless they score. Prop chasing Stevens to the sideboards, and Gustafsson comes away with the puck. Brings it ahead now to Dave Christian. Marsh drops it back to the Washington line. Here's Murphy. Murphy up to center. Shoots it back into the Flyers zone. Now Greg Adams over to Dave Christian. Played by Huber back to the point. Kept in by Stevens. Into the corner. And Prop to the point with a minute to go here in the third period. Here's Scott Stevens across the line. Stevens fakes the shot, tries to get around Huber. He does. He centers, and Hunter's pushed away by Marsh to the corner. Here's Gartner behind the net. Over to Ridley. Ridley on the power play to Gartner. Centers it in front of the goal, and it's played from right in the goal crease all the way outside the line. And now we've got a penalty call here for holding, as Hunter has been hauled down by Huber. So a 2-minute holding call coming to Willie Huber at 19:24 of the third period. It'll give Washington a 2-man advantage to finish this game, but they're 3 goals down.
Would you get 2 points in collegiate wrestling for that takedown? I think that's pretty near perfect. That sit-down move, bring your man with you. Well, Tim Kerr's got to feel pretty good about his return to a battle in the National Hockey League. A couple penalties in this period, but he has been a factor. Doesn't show up on the score sheet, but certainly his presence in front of that net has been felt on a number of occasions. The Capitals have given up goals to the Philadelphia Flyers. So here you've got a guy like Tim Kerr with his great goal-scoring ability, ready for the playoff stretch with Poulin and Sutter. Those guys due back. This Philadelphia Flyer team looks loaded again. Should be a great finish to the season between the Caps, Flyers, and Islanders, and see if the Rangers can make things even more interesting.
You can expect the standing situation to change almost daily. The way this division is jammed up at the top. Here's Scott Stevens. Drives it on goal, and the puck cleared away from in front. 7 seconds left. It's cleared all the way down. And now Samuelson comes out on the ice. He and Hunter push and shove. The game is over. And the Flyers have beaten the Washington Capitals 5-2. Shots on goal in the third period. For Washington, 11 shots. A game total of 29. And Philadelphia with 14 shots on goal, a game total of 36. We'll be back to recap tonight's game after we pause for these words.